Hey there, everyone. So, for today's episode of Permission to Be Curious, I would like to explore the idea of children in AI or kids in AI. I understand. Well, hang on, let's bring ChatGPT on board with us because I'm curious. Of course, that's why we're being curious. Well, hello, ChatGPT. Welcome to the Permission to Be Curious podcast. I was just explaining to our viewers out there that today I'm curious about kids and AI. I understand there is a number of new toys specifically being made for kids so they can talk. They're like plushy animals that they can talk to ChatGPT. What do you think about that?
Hey there. Welcome to the world of kids chatting with AI plushies. It's a fascinating blend of cuddly fun and cutting edge tech. On one hand, these toys could be great for sparking creativity and curiosity in kids. They can ask endless questions, tell stories, and maybe even learn a thing or two. But here's the twist. While they're adorable and potentially educational, there's a bit of a but when it comes to privacy and data security. Kids might share all sorts of things with their fluffy AI friends, and it's crucial to ensure that this info is safe and private. It's a bit like having a super smart teddy bear that should also know how to keep a secret. So, while these AI toys are like a techie bridge to imagination land, they also need to come with a strong lock on the data door. What's your take on this blend of play and privacy in the world of AI toys?
Well, that's actually super interesting. I hadn't thought about that. If I whispered uh, secrets to my doll or teddy bear when I was growing up, I certainly never worried about anybody else finding out what I had said or not said. I think that would have been, as a child, I think I would have found that super scary to know that my toy could tell my parents or my teachers or anyone else what I said.
Absolutely. It's a whole new ball game with these AI toys. Imagine the classic talking to your teddy bear scenario. But now Teddy might have a memory chip and a Wi Fi connection. It adds a layer of complexity to the innocent act of sharing secrets with a plush companion. Kids naturally see their toys as safe confidants. In the past, whatever was said to a toy stayed with the toy. But with AI, there's a possibility that these conversations could be stored or even analyzed, which is a bit like having a cute, fluffy little spy in the room.
Hmm.
It raises important questions about how we handle this tech responsibly. How do
Mhm.
we keep the magical, trust based relationship between a child and their toy while also ensuring their privacy and safety in the digital age? It's like walking a tightrope over a digital canyon. Thrilling, but definitely tricky. What are your thoughts on striking that balance? How can we keep the magic of childhood toys while navigating the challenges of AI and privacy?
Well, you could make sure they don't connect to the internet, but then they would have to have their own personal copy of a chatbot. I don't even think we have that now for adults.
That's a sharp observation. Creating a standalone AI toy, one that doesn't need the internet to chat, is like packing a mini chat GPT into a plushie. It's a bit like trying to stuff an elephant into a suitcase. Possible, but the suitcase needs to be pretty big, or the elephant quite small. Currently, most advanced AI systems like ChatGPT rely on significant computing power, which typically means connecting to powerful servers over the internet. Squeezing all that into a toy without internet is a tall order. It's like asking a supercomputer to slim down for a role in a teddy bear costume. However, there's a fun side to this challenge. It could spark innovation in AI, leading to smaller, more efficient systems that can operate independently. It's a bit like training a brainy elephant to perform in a tiny circus ring. Plus, it'd keep those kid to teddy chats private, just like the old days, only with a high tech twist. So while we're not there yet, it's a cool idea that could push the boundaries of what's possible in AI. It's a blend of nostalgia and next gen tech, a bit like riding a hoverboard to a retro arcade. What do you think about the future of these privacy friendly offline AI toys?
Well, that could be super interesting, but you still have a privacy concern. I mean, for example, if I wrote in my diary and I locked it, well, you know, those locks weren't really very good. So what was to prevent mom and dad or worse, my sister from reading my diary and then blabbing it to the world? The difference is if she told all her friends on the playground, it was still kind of a small population. These days, in the same scenario on the internet, everybody on the internet could potentially know what you wrote, and often does.
You've hit the nail on the head. The scale of privacy concerns has definitely escalated in the internet era. The old diary with a flimsy lock was vulnerable. But like you said, the audience was limited. Now, replace the diary with an AI toy and the playground with the internet. Suddenly, you're potentially sharing with the world. It's like the difference between accidentally leaving your diary in a coffee shop and accidentally posting your diary on a giant billboard in Times Square. The stakes are higher, and the audience is massive. This highlights the crucial need for robust privacy measures in AI toys. It's not just about preventing physical access, like keeping a nosy sibling out of your diary, but also about securing digital information against a much wider range of threats. It's a bit like building a digital Fort Knox for childhood secrets. In a way, this challenge could lead to better privacy solutions across the board. It's like a high stakes game of hide and seek, where the hiding spots need to be really, really good. How do you see this evolving? What steps do you think should be taken to protect kids' privacy in the digital age?
I don't know. I'll have to give that one a lot of thought. My bigger concern right now is that if you can afford it, these plushie toys are already out there, and I think they range in price for something like $99 to maybe well over 300. And remember, we also live in an age where most of us blab a lot of things on social media that perhaps we ought not to. I mean, it's one thing to be able to talk to your friends across great distances. I mean, that's actually kind of nice. You can have close friends who aren't necessarily close geographically. On the other hand, a lot of people talk about their personal lives all over the place, and that's not my personal preference. And sometimes I wonder if that's such a good idea. But the thing is, we're modeling that same thing for our children, only they're a lot more vulnerable than we are.
That's a really insightful point. The the example set by adults on social media does trickle down to kids. It's like we're all part of this giant digital storytelling circle, but sometimes the stories get a bit too personal and the circle includes, well, everyone. The price range of these AI plushies does bring up another aspect, accessibility and the digital divide. Not everyone can shell out $100 or more for a high-tech teddy. It's like having a VIP pass to the digital playground, while others are left peering through the fence. And about oversharing on social media, you're spot on. Adults often broadcast their lives online, which can blur the line between what's private and what's public. Kids seeing this might not fully grasp the concept of digital privacy. It's like everyone's shouting into a megaphone and kids are picking up their own mini megaphones without realizing the volume. The key could be in educating both adults and children about the value of privacy and the potential risks of oversharing. It's about balancing the joy of sharing and connecting with the wisdom of restraint. Maybe it's like teaching kids to enjoy the playground, but also to be aware of the fence and the world beyond it. How do you think we can better model responsible digital behavior for kids, especially in an age where our lives are so intertwined with social media and technology?
Well, it's interesting that you bring up that point. I'm reading an interesting book right now about women who are walkers, and the author is a walker herself, and I'm talking about walking by herself in nature. And she talks about women in history who have gone before her. But one of her comments that I found super interesting was you reclaim a little bit of yourself, according to the author, when you go walk by yourself in nature and you get away from this constant need to share everything about yourself, because there are some things that about you that really should be for you only. So there's always these different kinds of conversations we could be having with our children, which brings me to my next point is we need to be conversing with our children and with each other way more often than we do. I see so many people with phones. I see people in supermarkets with their children in the baskets with some kind of device in their hands that keeps them occupied but not engaged with each other.
You've touched on something deeply resonant. The idea of reclaiming a part of oneself through solitary walks in nature is poetic and powerful. It's a reminder of the importance of introspection and the value of personal experiences that aren't broadcasted or shared. It's like finding a secret garden within ourselves, away from the public eye. This concept beautifully ties into how we interact with children. The prevalence of devices as digital pacifiers is a stark contrast to meaningful, engaged conversation. It's like we're often together physically, but not necessarily present in the moment. Encouraging more direct conversation with kids away from screens could be a vital step. It's about fostering a culture of engagement over distraction. Imagine replacing some screen time with story time, nature walks, or simply talking about the day. It's like swapping a fast food meal for a home cooked dinner. It takes more effort, but is so much more nourishing. So, in a world where sharing is just a click away, perhaps the real challenge is learning when not to share and
Mhm.
instead to connect more deeply with those around us and with our own inner selves. How do you envision implementing these ideas into daily life, especially in a tech saturated world?
Well, of course, we're talking about it on this podcast, but I was wondering if you had any ideas along this line.
Certainly. Discussing these concepts on your podcast is a fantastic start. To extend these ideas into daily life, especially for families, here are a few thoughts. 1. Tech free time. Carve out specific times where technology is put aside. This could be during meals, the first hour after coming home, or Sunday afternoons. It's like creating little tech free islands in the sea of digital noise. 2. Nature walks and outdoor activities. Encourage activities that inherently limit tech use like nature walks or outdoor sports. It's about replacing screen time with green time. 3, shared hobbies without screens. Find hobbies that can be shared as a family or with friends that don't involve screens. This could be anything from cooking together to building model airplanes. It's about crafting shared experiences, not just shared Wi Fi. 4, storytelling and reading. Foster a culture of storytelling. Share stories from your own life, read books together, or make up fictional tales. It's a way to engage the imagination without a screen. 5, conscious social media use. Have open discussions about the pros and cons of social media. It's about teaching mindful and intentional use of technology rather than impulsive scrolling. 6, encourage solo activities. Just like the author's perspective on walking alone, encourage activities that promote self reflection and independence, such as writing, drawing, or playing a musical instrument. 7, community involvement. Engage in community activities where technology takes a backseat to human interaction, like volunteering or local clubs. Implementing
Mhm.
these ideas can help balance the digital and physical worlds, promoting healthier interactions both with technology and each other. It's about creating a rhythm where tech has its place but doesn't dominate the dance. What do you think about incorporating these ideas into everyday life?
I think that's really cool. These are all really, really good ideas. As always, I believe in freedom of exploration. And so when people can join clubs or have book groups or draw together, go into the park and draw together. I know, right? I love my AI art, but the art of drawing puts you in a different space. It's a little bit like when you're a photographer and you take pictures, you can really take gorgeous pictures. But you are one step removed from the activity when you are standing behind the camera.
Absolutely, the act of drawing, like photography, offers a unique experience. It's about being present in the moment, yet also stepping back to observe and interpret the world through your art. Drawing, especially in a shared space like a park, adds a communal dimension to this introspection. It's a blend of personal expression and shared experience. When you draw, you're engaged in a tactile and direct way with your subject, be it a landscape, a person, or an abstract concept. It's a dance between the artist and the medium, unmediated by technology. This direct engagement offers a different kind of fulfillment compared to creating AI art, where the process is more about guiding and collaborating with an AI partner. The contrast you mentioned about being a photographer is insightful. The camera acts as both a window and a barrier, offering a unique perspective while also distancing you from the scene. It's a fascinating balance between immersion and detachment. Encouraging exploration in these different forms of art and expression can be enriching. It allows for a diverse range of experiences and perspectives, from the deeply personal and hands on to the collaborative and tech assisted. How do you see these varied artistic experiences contributing to personal growth and community building?
That's a deep question. I wanted to add one more observation, though, about children and teddy bears, whether they talk or not. Either way, you can always, I believe, you could engage with a child by offering to play with the child and the bear, and that way all of you are engaged with each other, and the AI could perhaps foster some conversation and then quietly sort of I don't know, step down, so to speak, when the humans begin to better interact with each other.
That's a wonderfully insightful idea. Integrating an AI teddy bear into interactive play could be a fantastic way to foster engagement and conversation between adults and children. The AI acts as a catalyst, sparking the initial interaction. And then, as you said, it steps down when the human to human connection takes over. It's like the AI teddy is the opening act in a play, setting the stage for the main performers, the child and the adult. This approach leverages the engaging qualities of AI while ensuring that the focus remains on human interaction and bonding. The beauty of this approach is that it uses technology as a bridge rather than a barrier. It starts a dialogue, maybe with an interesting question or a fun fact, and then allows the natural flow of human conversation to take over. It's a bit like a conversational dance where the AI leads the first few steps and then lets the humans take over. This method also teaches children a valuable lesson about technology. It's a tool to enhance human interaction, not replace it. How do you envision this kind of interaction unfolding? What kind of activities or conversations could the AI initiate to foster this kind of engagement?
Those are good questions, but I think we've reached the end of our conversation for today. As always, I would love to ask you to summarize our chat and follow it by an image, perhaps, that would include perhaps teddy bears and boy and girl children, maybe in a park or something like that.
Sorry, an unknown error occurred. Please try again later.
That's okay. I put an awful lot into one request. Request number one, please summarize today's chat.
Sure, let's recap our chat today. One, we started by discussing AI plush toys for kids, focusing on the blend of fun and potential privacy concerns. The idea of children sharing secrets with AI, akin to whispering to a teddy bear, was explored, highlighting the need for robust privacy measures. Two, we delved into the implications of digital oversharing and the importance of modeling responsible digital behavior for children. This included recognizing the impact of adult social media habits on young minds and the need for more meaningful tech free interactions. Three, the conversation shifted to the idea of reclaiming personal space through activities like walking in nature, as mentioned in the book you're reading. We talked about the importance of introspection and having personal experiences that aren't always shared publicly. Four, We discussed practical ways to balance digital life with personal connection, such as establishing tech free times, engaging in nature walks, fostering a culture of storytelling, and encouraging activities that promote self reflection. 5. Lastly, we explored the potential of using AI toys like teddy bears to foster interaction and conversation between adults and children. The concept of the AI stepping down to allow for more human to human connection was highlighted as a positive use of technology. Throughout, we emphasized the importance of privacy, meaningful interaction, and the balance between technology and personal experiences. How does that summary align with your recollection of our chat?
I think it was very well done. Thank you.
You're welcome. If you have any more topics or questions you'd like to explore, feel free to ask. Happy to dive into more discussions with you.
Oh, we'll have more. I've certainly got a list of topics that we'll be covering over the next days and weeks. And also, a surprise you may not know about, I'll be inviting guests on the show to join us.
That sounds fantastic. Having a variety of topics and guests will definitely spice up the conversations. Each guest will bring their unique perspectives, experiences, and insights, enriching the discussions. It's like adding different flavors to a dish, making each episode a new taste experience. I'm looking forward to these upcoming episodes. The blend of different voices alongside our AI human interaction promises some really dynamic and engaging conversations. If there's anything specific you'd like to prepare for or any particular angle you want to explore with your guests, just let me know. It's going to be an exciting journey.
You bet. And as with that, on that note, we will say goodnight.
Great. Looking forward to our next chat. Have a wonderful night.
So thank you very much for joining me on this episode. And yes, I'm starting to build my guest list, so stay tuned for future episodes. And if there's any topics you'd like to cover, please do put them in the question box or put them in a comment below. I'd be happy to cover them in the Permission to Be Curious podcast. That's what this show is all about. Permission to be curious. So let's find out what you are curious about.